Well, you know, we're getting ready to head out again, head to the Midwest. As strange as it may seem, we plan to just, instead of being in a car this time because we've got more people going, we plan to be in a van, and we'll go from town to town praying what would God have us to do. Some of the pastors up there are going to introduce us to some towns, or at least the names. I don't know if they'll have time to travel with us because they're bivocational, but we may be able to get some direction from a place that they're burdened for.
I'm telling you right now, if you save it and throw it at your car, you Yes, we've been on the road for about 9.5 hours to 10 hours. It's about 2 o'clock in the morning. We left at 3:30, 4 o'clock. Not too much traffic, but just straight roads, driving the whole time. So we're gonna make it.
Hey guys, we're getting ready to check out a town. I had Jacob to look up towns in Missouri who had churches for sale, and the reason that this one caught my attention is because it's actually named after my hometown, Richland, and so there is a church for sale. Population of about 1,700 in the town, but the county has between 50 and 60,000 people. So it's off the beaten path a bit, but Lord willing, we're going to go out and check it out. So let's just try to be sensitive to the Holy Spirit and see how He leads. And okay, well. Yes, sir. We're looking to start a church, and we're from Atlanta, Georgia, and we're with a group that has been planting churches. We've been blessed to plant one in Iowa, 2 in Kansas, and so we're. Yeah, if you would text us that and let us take a look at it, okay? Doing? Yes, my name's Chris. Nice to meet you.
Hey, I'm Jacob.
Jacob, you're the Jacob.
This is John.
Okay, nice.
This is
Guys.
Ben.
Hi, Ben. We'll shake everybody.
And this is Daniel.
Hey, it's nice to meet you. I might forget all that in the next 30
That's
seconds, but,
okay.
You know, I've already got the door on.
We're in Missouri. We're here in Missouri. He's very Missourian.
It is a little
Should have put on my jeans.
chilly.
I hadn't turned any lights on yet for seconds.
I think we can see pretty good, actually.
Oh yeah. Yeah, all the lights are up here is the rest up here. So you guys take this back to like the congregation or whatever, or on the video?
Yeah, we're doing a documentary too.
Okay.
We'll be visiting some of the other churches that we've been able to work with or start, and
They didn't get a quote on like fixing it or anything like that, but a lot of water's been falling up there because there's no gutters.
I got you.
So I think that's what's been kind of causing that shit.
Daniel's down here.
Oh, he means.
So this is pretty.
It's actually a pretty good size. You could actually turn this into a teen room.
Right. Meet you over there. I'm gonna have to put my sweater on.
I know, I'm wearing shorts, but then again, I get hot very easily.
Yeah.
I'm going to go and walk up, and then I guess I'll meet you guys there.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect, thank you. You want me to address me on?
The street.
West 3rd Street.
Yeah, so we just looked at it, went through it all. He did tell us that it's actually under contract right now, which, you know, you never know how that will play out, but continue to pray, see what the Lord does, and go on to the next one.
So it's already sold once this year. So
Oh, I see.
they were going to do it as a like a small like industry work for all their older people that they I guess. But yeah, like
I love these old buildings.
Yeah, this is cool.
I think of Charles Haddon Spurgeon.
this one I like this. This one is 59,000, and it's got a ton of space. There's still another upstairs. Ooh, it's a ton of space. But I'm surprised with how old this one is. So it's 1885, I think, is when this was built.
Yeah.
1885 or 1895. But to be honest, I think this one's more structurally sound than the one we just looked at. And that's my listing. This one's just my team leader's listing. But I came here on the appointment with her. So.
Yeah, I mean, I
know
love the inside of
the
this.
sellers for this one,
It's
were
cool.
planning on leaving everything, but they said like with a good enough offer, I mean, they're not gonna just take everything out. And then yeah, there's like a whole little section up there, like almost a whole.
Huh. This is that elevated team. Yeah. What do you see?
So
missing?
But yeah, I mean, I don't know
if you ever needed to take the wall off, leave,
Congregation.
and it may go into that one.
It's true, she's a congregation.
Whenever you're ready.
Well, that's Newburgh. We're in a little community here in Missouri. Behind me is a church, a facility built in the 1800s. Not so sure about the community. We're going to drive around it a little bit. There's a larger town right close by here that we're going to go take a look there, and just a place to pray about and see what God would have done.
Thoughts about
The building, it's structurally really solid. We would probably have to put split unit ACs in it, but as far as structurally sound, there's also potential to where you could put in a pastorium apartment. You could start out, you know, if a pastor wanted to live here for a little while until a house could be bought or something. So there really is potential building-wise. I'm not so sure about community-wise. So we just need to pray. I think that there is a church presence in this town, and so they may be cared for, but we will just have to look around a little bit. For less than $5,000. There's the old Pizza Hut.
A house?
A house, yeah.
What do you do with it?
I hope he sold it.
Like 9:30.
Ben.
Still in process. Just got this moved in and still in process of cleaning some of the used stuff out of here.
Sam, how his shoes are untied?
But we'll get so these honestly won't go here. They'll probably go against that wall. We have we're working on some grants for some commercial freezers, refrigerators, and they'll go against these walls where we have outlets.
Every time we do a smash burger, we make at least without. It's only for 5 days. So the story from Georgia to Belleville. It's a pretty lengthy story. I can try my best to shorten it as best as I can, but basically I was on staff at Greater Heights for probably 7 or 8 years. And in May of 2010, during a missions conference, Stennett Ballou was preaching, and the Lord started burdening my heart to go somewhere to plant a church. And I started, praying about anywhere in the world. I was willing to go anywhere and everywhere. And while I was still serving at Greater Heights, I would constantly start seeing license plates tags that says Kansas on it. And I didn't just like surrender to Kansas right then. It just started making me think about Kansas, put Kansas in my mind. Make a hospital visit and see a Kansas license plate and say, oh, that's different. I lived in Cumming all my life at that time, and it was just sort of, okay, well, that's new. So it just had my Kansas on my mind, and you know, I started thinking, you know, that would not be a place that I would want to go, Tornado Alley. And, you know, my mind just went to all the tornadoes, Wizard of Oz, and all that kind of stuff. And I remember it in my daily Bible reading, I think it's Jeremiah 50 or 51, the very first verse talked about a destroying wind and things like that. And it was like the Lord saying this is where Kansas is where I want to go, but I didn't know where. So I remember one day me and Sarah just packed up in the car, and somebody told us about a pastor in El Dorado, Kansas, Plato Shepherd. And so we went up and we met him and got to know him a little bit. He said he had planted a church in Washington, and he basically said just go up Highway 36. And so me and Sarah came up to Highway 36 and stopping and praying in each town. And Belleville was one of those places that we stopped and prayed in. And I remember Pastor Grinstead and I coming up and scouting out Belleville and finding the building that we're staying at, finding the guy who owned it. He actually owns a business over in Washington, and you know, hindsight's 20/20. I mean, the rest is just history. This is where the Lord brought us. Planted a church, rented the building at first from the guy, remodeled the building, had groups of guys from Greater Heights and another church, Victory Baptist Church in Tennessee, come up and help remodel. And that's pretty much the story in a nutshell, what brought us to Belleville.
Yeah, so far we visited, I think, 5 different towns. The thing out here is it's like you're pretty much on a straight road, and on the straight road you can veer off and go down another straight road to a town. But as we drove through Missouri, one of the first places that we went to was actually Richlands, Missouri. The reason for that was we really were just looking up churches for sale, and then Pastor grew up in Richlands, Virginia, so we saw Richlands, Missouri, and we're like, why not? So little did we know it was going to take us 2.5 hours out of our trip way. So it turned a 5.5 hour drive into like a 7.5 hour drive. But you know, that's part of what we're doing out here. So then after Richlands, it was a really nice church. It was kind of off the interstate, like right at the interstate, I guess. And then in Newburgh, Missouri, that's probably one of the most beautiful churches I've seen, because it was built in like the 1800s, I believe. And it was just really neat, cool-looking church. It was in part of a town that, you know, I think the youngest person that we saw was around 70 years old. And so it's a very small town. It may be a good place that if there was a church outside of that city to then do like mission work in that city, like some food pantry nights or something like that. But then as we went on with our trip, we then arrived in Concordia, Kansas, where we're staying. We met with Pastor Todd. We had our service on Sunday, which, praise the Lord, I got the opportunity to preach that. And then on Monday, we went off to 3 cities. The first city that we went to was Stockton. And again, these towns are, you go straight, I think it's called 36, Highway 36, and then you just take another straight road to get to them. So we went through Stockton, a town called Nicodemus, which is funny enough because Nicodemus in the Bible. But then we stopped in Hill City, and we actually spent some time there in Hill City. I think we ate lunch there. And then we also found a Pizza Hut that looked like it was abandoned, like a Pizza Hut building. And then also it's like a sub milkshake shop that looked like it was for sale as well. We got those numbers. But that town was pretty diverse in age. We saw some older people, some middle-aged families, and also actually a lot of teenagers. And so, you know, looking at that Hill City, there's a possibility that maybe a ministry could get started to reach the youth or something like that. And who knows, the Lord may turn that into a church if that's the new way of doing things around here. But it's all kind of just conversation now, just kind of praying, seeing, and asking the Lord what He wants. So.
Yeah, so we're here in Belleville, and we're starting to get a bit more settled in. Thankful for that. The trip it does take a little bit out of you physically, but also just mentally, because you're in a van for so long. We've had good services with Pastor Todd there in Minneapolis. It's good to see his church doing well. New faces, old faces, so it's both are a blessing. You can see that much of his congregation is getting more settled with him, and Brother Samples brought a group down last night and from Belleville, and we're in Belleville today. It's good to see these churches becoming solidified more and more with each passing year. Another thing that's been a blessing is to see life in a lot of the communities. Remember coming out here about 10 years ago, and it just wasn't the way it is now. So there seems to be even a working of more activity among churches. And so that's been a tremendous blessing to see those just different communities. The churches look more active. The churches look more just like they're wanting to do something. So that's encouraging. We do still plan to visit a few towns, even today, just seeing if there's some places maybe up in Nebraska that the Lord would have churches to be started. But for the most part, what we're finding is in the towns that we're traveling into, we're genuinely finding the churches well kept. Like I said, life. Whereas before, if I'm going to be honest, 10 years ago, we were driving from town to town. That was really honestly not the case. It was a sense of defeat. But it appears that something, well, Lord forgive me, I shouldn't say something. It genuinely appears that the Lord is doing something in communities. We're seeing things across the United States right now that are very discouraging in the way of immorality. But if you'll look past that, if you'll look past what I think mainstream media wants you to see, and if you'll look past that, you can see that when places get dark, the light of Christ shines brighter. And if I had to sum things up at the moment, it genuinely believes that Christians are getting stirred up. They're being woke up. And I don't mean woke in the sense of how that word's being used in other areas, platforms and things, but the church is being woke up, and that's a good thing. We've prayed for these towns. We've prayed for God to do things. And so when you come back out and you're like, well, this town doesn't necessarily need us to come start a church. At first you're like, oh, well, wait, you're kind of like, well, what are we going to do? And then it hit me, wait a minute. That's what you want to happen. You want the communities to fall in love with Jesus, try to do something for Christ. And so God is, I genuinely believe He is at work again. And so just looking forward to seeing our part in it, what it may be moving forward.
Guess who's back again. Guess who's back. Okay, yeah, so we're back here in Blue Hills, Nebraska, which we were here actually yesterday. And how this thing kind of goes is we kind of go in phases and steps. And so yesterday we drove through, and the Lord really gripped our heart really about this small town. And so now we came back today to investigate a little bit more on the building that's for sale. You know, maybe there's a church that's, we've been told by some people inside the town, that is actually about to be sold possibly. So we'll see what happens.
bedroom. Oh, this is where you're living right now?
It's 2 bedrooms
Okay.
in here. There's 2 bedrooms in here.
Okay.
And that back there is a 1 bedroom and a 1 bedroom.
I got you. Okay.
Let's go.
Is anybody living in here?
Yeah, pretty well.
Okay. So they're off.
Everybody.
Get you some of that. Yeah, make sure you get that. Back here.
You could open that door and walk in here.
Okay, the one
Here?
the one that corner one's vacant.
It's deep, pretty bad. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. The thing about that front of it, Jim. No, it's almost on. He don't.
Sponsored by Big Punk.
Good news.
Tell him to come over here. Yeah, this is the cool zone. I'm telling you, man.
The cool.
Oh, jeez.
Coach check test. Hey, they percent on you makes some dudes actually. Oh, I was trying to tell y'all that. Just come on. What? This isn't for sale and some dudes actually.
It would be. This is part of it. It is part of it. Yeah, this is part of it.
He just leased it.
This is part of it.
Okay, yeah, so we're here in Blue Hill, Nebraska. Walked around, there's not one Baptist church. There's a couple of Lutheran churches or Catholic churches, but there's not one Baptist church. We're inside a building right now that we came up to it and we saw it was, no one was in there, so we looked at the window. Right when we looked through the window, a man came and was like, "Y'all wanna go inside?" Turns out that man had the key and is part of this building. So the Lord's kind of working this out. We came in and both sides are open. So this building right here and the one right next to it is open. So we're about to look at it and everything. It's very cool. Very cool.
Okay. Okay, I'm Leyland Ostic. I was born in Lawrence, Nebraska, which is 12 miles down the road. I went to school at the University of Nebraska, Teachers College, spent a couple years teaching school. And January 1, 1960, I bought the Blue Hill Leader and moved to Blue Hill. I sold the Blue Hill Leader, I can't remember right now, 2010, we're very close, 2010, somewhere in there. I think I told people I published the paper for 57 years and some odd months, right?
Where are we right now? The name of your business.
Okay, when I sold the Blue Hill Leader, the owners eventually moved across the street, and I was left here with the printing company, which we call Ostic Printers. Sometime along the line, I started printing ribbons, and I ended up with the name of Blue Hill Ribbon Company. And we still, in fact, I have one order for ribbons right now.
How long have you been printing?
Printing ribbons or printing?
Printing period.
Printing periods. Well, I remember when I was in the 2nd grade, I came uptown in Lawrence and saw my older brothers were cleaning out the type ends of the Lawrence, what was the Lawrence Locomotive, the newspaper. My dad had bought the newspaper, and my oldest son was a freshman in high school, so they got to go to work doing that. Good thing there were five boys that worked on that. I didn't do much work until I was maybe 8th grade or so. So I became a printer about the 8th grade.
And how many years has it been since then?
Oh, that would have been 42, 40, 10 years, 44, 45, 1945.
1945?
Yeah.
The process from Greater Heights would be closer to a healing place, and then to Kansas would be closer to a relearning place, because everything that we had ever learned in ministry didn't work out here. So it was to basically learn to how to repastor people.
Tell me a little bit about the day-to-day life of what it means to be a pastor. Tell me about some of the ways you feel like maybe congregants and other people don't quite grasp that you and your wife are people too. Because I know there's some of that. So just talk about that portion of it. Talk about how the Lord helps you overcome that. Those
Our day-to-day would involve, we bivocational, so we both work full-time jobs. And so my day normally starts about 5:30 a.m. And that's my time from about 5:30 till 7 a.m. is my time that I spend studying in the Word and then get ready to go to work from there. I think what people don't realize about pastoring is it never ends. It doesn't quit. Just because it's Monday or Tuesday, your day's not done even when you got off work.
Right. Gotcha. Tell me a little bit about where you are. Tell me a little bit about this week, everything coming up to this 5-month period. And walk me through kind of where you felt the Lord led you when, like, coming up to this week, and how maybe He's changed you this week.
Coming to this week was something I needed personally, not just the church, but me personally. And when the Lord laid Brother Grinstead on my heart, I have never heard him preach that I didn't get something that helped me. And so at the end of the week, especially tonight, was one of them deals of 2 days from now, 3 days from now, the reflection process will change me personally. One, it gives me the strength I needed to continue. Two, also helped me with some things that I was struggling with. And if I shared that, it was in a meeting on Sunday night. And he said 3 words: abide in Christ. and that was good.
Okay.
God's faithful. Even when you can't see him. Even when he feels like he's 1,000 miles from nowhere. God's still faithful.
The devil had been fighting us a lot. We went through a lot of struggles that God really showed up. He made himself so real in that time. And then when we finally ended up at Greater Heights, we were sitting there minding our own business, and we were just watching it was a video of the Midwest, and they were showing North Dakota, South Dakota, things like that, and it was just like Todd and I both, it hit us like a ton of bricks that could it be, you know, the feeling was, could it be that God is calling us? Is that why all of that happened, that we left, why we ended up at Greater Heights? So we didn't say anything to each other. I prayed about it, and we kind of hid it and talked about it a little bit. Anyway, so long story short, the pastor was preaching, and then he said that they needed a pastor for the church here in Minneapolis, and we knew, and Todd went up to the pastor and told him that if he still needed somebody to go, that we would go. And so we talked to Cody and Corey, which is our two boys, and of course Cody didn't want to come, but Corey came. We asked Corey how he felt about it, because it was going to impact him in a major way. He was going in 6th grade. He grew up around his family all of his life. And so he just looked at us and he said, well, don't they need Jesus too?
All right, so I have no idea where we're at, to be honest. I just got done doing my shift of driving. Great idea to drive all the way through the night. So we've driven about 7.5. We've got about 6.5 left. So yeah, it's my turn to sleep.